Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight we have all sorts of predictions to do. We have your Day 1 predictions, your New Year's Evil predictions, your Wrestle Kingdom predictions. Toni Storm has left WWE. Grayson Waller is fighting AJ Styles, which I think is pretty cool. Jason's giving me the jerk-off move. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. When all the smart marks watching Raw decide wrestling isn't real, just grab a fifth and smoke your spliff and boo the goddamn heel.
Yes!
And sitting right across from me, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Why do I have to always follow the big time great fucking intros? This is horse shit. I'm sick of this shit. We're doing things different in 22. On that note, it's Thursday. You know what that means. Allow us to bow your heads as I read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 237, chapter 3, verse 14. And the good smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It is all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat the holy trinity of BFR. If you haven't guessed, next week, I always think of this time last year when this kind of happened. It was a huge week of wrestling. Guess what? Round 2 is happening next week. I'm amped up. Stardom, by the way, was off the fucking chain. I can't wait for the Beefers, because the Beefers is going to have some stardom, for, as far as I'm concerned, thrown into that bad boy.
And out there driving in the rain in western United States territories. I think it's a state now. Oregon.
Yes, it's a state now.
We have Two Beer Zach Paul. What's going on, Two Beer
Yeah,
Zach?
far west in the house.
Not much. That was a great intro, and even though I'm not with you guys just for your visual benefit, I've been doing that jerk-off motion since we started, and I haven't stopped. So.
We are coming at you from Jason Cornelius Bell's beautiful South City apartment in rainy, cloudy, wintry. It's not cold enough to have freezing rain. It should be snowing a whole bunch.
I'm saying, it ain't raining yet.
Well, I drove. It was raining a little bit. Okay,
See,
right.
you on guy those of
I'm out in the world.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of wrestling to get to. A bunch of wrestling to talk about that's going to happen in the next week. I didn't prepare for it. We're going to see how this goes. We're just going to let it fly. Mm-hmm. Zach has to walk into a store here in a few seconds. So
this is the fastball edition. We just going to grip it and rip it.
You know, without further ado, let's get to that 3 count. Jason Cornelius Bell, what's the 1 count?
It seemed like an innocent afternoon when I looked on Twitter and I saw Britt Baker post a picture of Toni Storm, and I said to myself, why is Britt Baker posting a picture of Toni Storm? And I looked over on Twitter and I saw Toni Storm was trending. So that's usually one of two things. It's either really good or really, really bad.
Yeah, she. My first thought was she got Me Too'd.
I thought she got released. See, you ain't shit. So the next thing you know, I'll go quick on and I see that Toni Storm has left the WWE. So as you all know, I am been a big proponent of Toni Storm. She's done her thing in Germany, Japan, England. Before she even graced the steps of WWE, she was 2-time finalist in the Mae Young Classic, won it the second time around. She's won the NXT UK Championship. She was the longest reigning champion until Kaylee Ray came around. And then she went over to the main roster. And I had my trepidations off the jump. She was drafted by SmackDown. She had the vignettes. Toni Storm's coming. Toni Storm's coming. It kind of sounds like Veer's coming, but Toni Storm actually came. We're still waiting for Veer to walk from India to get over to the United States. Neither here nor there. That being said, Toni Storm never really came until Survivor Series. It felt like, all of a sudden now we needed Toni Storm and we brushed her off, and now we got her for Survivor Series, and then she went away. And now Toni Storm came back to wrestle Charlotte just before day 1/Royal Rumble. For me, that was ultimate red flags because it just felt like they were feeding Toni Storm to Charlotte. Obviously, Charlotte beats Toni Storm on last week's SmackDown. Not a great match by any stretch of the imagination.
I think it was a roll-up finish, right?
I don't even remember. I immediately got mad. I was just like, fuck this shit. Toni Storm's last memory in WWE is basically boo-hooing in the ring after the defeat. So, depending on who you listen to, who you believe, either Toni Storm asked for her release and then was granted her release, or she just quit, however you want to call it. Either way, Toni Storm's not with WWE. Now, my knee-jerk reaction is good on Toni Storm. If she asked for her release, God bless you for it. This was one of the worst bookings I've seen in a hot minute. We're trying to build a SmackDown Women's Championship around pies being thrown in the face. Come on now. I asked for a little bit more, okay? I don't need you to entertain me. This is about the title. Toni Storm actually talking about winning the title. He had to go. Toni Storm actually had to winning the title is probably what we should have been centered upon. Instead, it was about embarrassing Charlotte. And that's where I knew ultimately where this was going to go. I'm not mad at WWE. WWE does its own thing. Like I said, they push their guys, their girls, whomever the case may be, and that's what they're going to do. But now the attrition of this is starting to come into play. There are, I believe it's only 9 women on the SmackDown roster and 11 women on the Raw roster. I'm not including Bayley and Asuka because obviously neither one is available to wrestle. How you going to run a women's roster with 9 or 11? At this point, I'm like, okay, you know what? It's just time. We just need to have one title. I don't care how you want to do it. If you want to run Becky and Charlotte back at WrestleMania, fine. Let's just do it the right way, because now we're at a point where you don't have enough women to have 2 separate rosters. If they wanted to do the Royal Rumble that's coming up here in a month here downtown at the Dome, they don't have 10 more women as it stands to do a 30-man or 30-woman Royal Rumble. If you want to do 20, that's great, but that's all 20. That would mean Charlotte would have to be in, Becky would have to be in, everybody would have to be in, and that doesn't make sense. Now you've gotten to the point where you're being cute and you let everybody go. You fucked over Toni Storm. Now she's left. You're at a point now where you can't really book this thing the way you could / should.
Did you say there were 11 women
on the Raw side, 9 on the SmackDown side, if I saw that right?
Okay, so the Women's Royal Rumble has always been, since its inception, has always kind of grabbed from a few legends and some NXT people. Like, they can do it, and they will do it. There's no way they won't do it.
I'm not saying that they're not going to do it. Okay, that's WWE is, if anything, headstrong. Okay, the show must go on.
Right.
That said,
Santina.
Okay, with that said, I'm not going to sit up here and say that I'm looking forward to a Royal Rumble where it's a mishmash of people, because now at this point, especially on the women's side, at this point, half the Royal Rumble to me is, guessing who's going to win. If you're eliminating half the field off the bat, that's not fun anymore.
So Dave Meltzer reported that Toni Storm left due to burnout.
Okay.
Which is telling. It's also probably kind of a lie. She was also probably kind of like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to wrestle all these dates for these shit-ass TV appearances when I can go to somewhere else and have better appearances,
probably less money, but
make less money, but not hate it as much.
If it's on the line of burnout, then that sounds like it's too many dates for the money that is being paid to her, and maybe it's not what she wants to do. 2 of the 3 you can eliminate by just going away from WWE.
I mean,
the money is just, she's going to get paid.
Like you said, she asked for a release and she got released, or she just quit. Sounds to me like she just quit. It's probably easier for WWE to say that she asked for a release and they just let her go.
Right.
Because then it makes it look like they weren't jilted at the altar.
Well, I mean, let's just say that they were. Is it that big of a deal? Is WWE that
if you have a promotion,
sensitive?
If you have another American promotion that is viewed as a place where people go and get rejuvenated, and you have somebody like Toni Storm who's fighting the championship, AEW is a place where people go.
Okay, I would think you were talking about WWE.
No.
What the fuck?
AEW is a place where wrestlers, it seems like wrestlers view AEW as a place where they can go and get rejuvenated. They go and fall in love with the craft all over again. XYZ, blah, blah, blah.
CM Punk.
Yes. Shit. Well, see all sorts of people.
Well, no, he said it on this promo on Wednesday, so to me it almost felt valid, but go ahead.
And your place is seen as somewhere where people get burnt out, which clearly seems to be the case. That seems like a bad sign for WWE. I'm not saying AEW is going to take over for WWE. I'm saying that Toni Storm, the only reason that I wanted to talk about Toni Storm and that Toni Storm is in the 3 count is because to me it signifies a serious change in the way that people are viewing, that wrestlers are viewing their employment status. If this gal, who is 25, 26, maybe 27 years old. I mean, she's very young. She's been in Japan. She's been in Germany. She's been in England. I think she's British.
She is.
Might be Australian.
I thought either Australian or New Zealand.
Okay. She is from an English-speaking country. She is a blonde woman who is very attractive and who can fucking wrestle. And she had lots of experience before she went to WWE. If she comes to WWE, has a televised match against WWE's crown jewel woman wrestler, Charlotte Flair, for the title, wrestles 14 minutes, gets rolled up. It's not even like she got squashed. I mean, she had a competitive match. I know I saw you on Twitter saying that you just saw her. We just saw Toni Storm ceiling in WWE. I would have disagreed with that at the time because listen, if she was still in WWE, I would say something to the effect right now of,
we'll see how it plays out.
No, I would have said that she earned something in defeat.
Sounds like let's see how it plays out to me, but go ahead. You just twisted that shit. She earned something in defeat. Okay,
but then, looking better in defeat is not the same as let's just see how it plays out.
But this is.
Did you want her to win the title on SmackDown?
Oh, she wasn't going to win.
I know. So that's not. Let's just see how it plays out. It's not the same thing.
So then,
tell me it's not the same thing.
So then, the next best scenario is to have Toni Storm look as strong as possible in the loss, and they couldn't do that.
Oh, I think getting rolled up and not losing to a finisher, getting rolled up is looking strong in a loss in the 14-minute televised SmackDown loss.
SmackDown is the key word in that. Okay,
let's not digress. Let's not digress too much.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
To me, this feels like a sea change. Maybe not a sea change. Maybe it's just a moment in time that we might look back on and be like, this is when people start saying, well, fuck you, WWE. Even though Kyle O'Reilly kind of did.
That's what I was going to say. I think
his contract was up.
Right.
Toni Storm's contract wasn't up. Toni Storm just said,
You know what? Yeah, I'm good on you. Fuck you. Fuck
Right.
you. You're cool. Fuck you. I'm out.
Exactly.
And that's basically what it boiled down to. And that's what I like so much about it, is because ultimately she took her own destiny in her own path, in her own hands, and just said, you know what? I'm going to sit these 90 days out, and then in 90 days, we'll figure it out. If it is burnout, she might have to sit out longer than 90 days. I don't want to see another Kylie Ray episode come down where she comes in, comes out, comes in, comes out. Get your shit right, and then come back in if you want to come back in. If you don't, then don't. Either way, I think this 90 days is going to give her a little reflection, hopefully rejuvenate her, get her back into play. I don't want her to go to AEW. I've said it already. Well, actually, AEW might be a decent destination. Impact would be better because I think she would be a better fit for the Impact roster. Stardom is always in play, but I don't think she goes back across the water.
There have also been some other, like there was a Killer Cross interview that came out recently where Killer Cross was talking about the confusion that happens when you go from NXT to the main roster. And there's this confusion that happens because they're two different promotions, basically. I know that they're all WWE, but they basically are two different promotions. They're run by different people.
Then it was. Now it feels like it's basically the same philosophy. One is a developmental brand, the other is the main roster.
I would love to dispute you on that, because this week's NXT encouraged me about how good it could be.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I'm not okay. All right. Well,
we're gonna talk about it here in a second.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But that's fine. Well, I don't know if Zach's out of the story yet, but.
No, I was going to say, well, let's just talk about Karrion Kross for 30 seconds, because, I think this is kind of the disconnect between what we expect, what I look for, what the wrestlers expect, what the talent expects, what they're looking for. Basically, the Karrion Kross interview was centered around his Raw debut against Jeff Hardy, where he eventually gets rolled up within 2 minutes, and everybody that's looking from the outside in is like, okay, what the fuck just happened? Not only did Karrion Kross lose, he lost by a fluky ass roll up. What the fuck? So Karrion Kross in this interview says that he and Jeff Hardy meet backstage. He knows he's going to job to Jeff Hardy. No big deal. Hey, I like Jeff. He's one. Somebody I look up to. He has his interest. He goes into the ring. It's supposed to be a 10-minute match, and then the referee comes up to him and says that you're down to 90 seconds. Okay, how the fuck are you supposed to book a 10-minute match down to 90 seconds? Clearly, they did the best that they could, but ultimately, that's the result that we saw, and everybody's like, okay, what the fuck's going on? Multiple questions from that point on. To me, that is an indictment just on the system itself. You can't have guys going out there and deciding, okay, here's this 10-minute match. I think I got something that's going on. And then at the 11th and a half hour and say, no, you've got 90 seconds. Figure this shit out. That's a bunch of horse shit. That's part of the reason why Karrion Kross didn't get over on the main roster. You can't set people up to succeed like that. There's no way.
Yeah, but there's so many more factors that go into it on the main roster, and I'm not apologizing for the main. I'm not apologizing for Vince. I'm not apologizing for Michael P.S. Hayes.
Looks like you got your sword and shield over there.
I'm not apologizing for Nick Khan. What I'm saying is they have a network TV partner that's not as forgiving as AEW's network TV partner, so it seems. They have way more advertisements. They have way more in-show advertisements. And who knows what the fuck the conversations were. Who knows what they were shaving those 9 minutes for to save time for. I don't think that necessarily means that they were saying, let's motherfuck Karrion Kross.
I'm not saying that either.
Maybe they were.
Maybe they were.
Maybe they were.
I'll just say
maybe
this.
They were.
Maybe they were.
They could have been.
I'll just say this. That's not how you get talent over.
Well, that's true. Let's get to that. All right, the 2 count, 2 beers on the road. He's with us, but he's on the road. So I'm going to leave the 2 count. The 2 count is going to be AEW Rampage and Dynamite. And we'll start with Rampage. And the big story coming out of Rampage was Hook. No, I'm kidding. The big story coming out of Rampage was Cody beating Sammy Guevara to become the 3-time TNT champion. This seems to me almost like a Bo Dallas situation, to where Cody doesn't know he's a heel. It's not exactly Bo Dallas, because Bo Dallas was like comedy, but it seems to me like they don't know that Cody's a heel. That might change in the next coming weeks, but he wrestled as a heel throughout that match. Do you disagree with that?
No. When you say they don't think he's a heel, who do you mean by they?
I mean kayfabe style. Cody does not believe that he's a heel.
And that's heel mentality, 101.
Heel mentality, but he's not doing heelish shit necessarily.
No,
he did wrestle as a heel in that match.
I agree with that totally.
Zach, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, I am actually pretty invested in this version of Cody. I mean, like, there's a lot of people that want to act like he booked himself to be a 3-time champion, but, like, the dude doesn't have the pencil. Like, he doesn't book shit like that's Tony Khan. And even though I am a little worried, like, what happens to Sammy Guevara, which is kind of the things that you kind of like say whenever somebody loses a title, especially like as quick as he did. But it was a little bit refreshing because, you know, you had this baby face beating this monster heel, and then at the same time, you know, getting some recognition. It's also refreshing because it's a shorter reign. It's a little less predictable because they tend to do longer reigns. So having a short one every now and then is kind of cool. And also, I just got to be honest, as much as I love Sammy Guevara and I think he has like this amazing future, I think it's way more interesting television. I think Cody's a much more compelling character right now. And I think it's very fun to have this character who is getting booed and kind of doesn't know why. He's kind of like the protagonist of Bill's novel. And, you know, he just feels like he's doing the right things and he's an all-American boy. And why would they boo me kind of thing? But he's very aware of it. Like, there's a little inside cuts and jabs, and it's all over the place. And this is, like, very intentional. And I'm here for it. I think it's exciting. And Sammy Guevara's got a long career ahead of him. And I think this is just more compelling television.
Shout out to my novel Marked Out, which is not published yet, but it will be coming soon. And all of you, if you plug in the promo code BFR, you still have to pay full price. Because,
that's right, baby.
I mean, it's taking forever. Fucking,
your boy's got to get his grip.
I got to pay somebody to fucking edit it. Jesus Christ.
I'll say he's got to get that bag. I'll go on the flip side because that was, to me, the other side. You know, Cody winning was, you know, the knee-jerk reaction was like, wow, you know, I can't believe they pulled the trigger, even though last week we kind of thought about, well, we kind of talked about it, and I thought I saw something about it, but I kind of turned away really quick. But ultimately what I thought I saw end up happening. I'm not saying I'm worried about Sammy, but you know, now what's next? I mean, that to me is the ultimate question because it's always what's next.
I ain't worried about Sammy at all.
I'm not saying I'm worried about him. Okay, I preface this by saying I'm not worried about Sammy, but what's next? What's Sammy going to do now? Obviously, he's going back to
Goldberg.
No. After he goes, he's going, you know, get his rematch for the TNT title. I expect him to lose that match. If he loses that match, then what? If he wins that match, then what? I think he's in that gray area where if other guys, and this is not a knock for AEW doing what you're supposed to do, if Bryan Danielson comes along, you got to get him. When Adam Cole comes along, you got to get him.
There is so much stuff for Sammy Guevara to do that I'm not worried about. When I say I'm not worried about him, I'm not saying I'm not worried about him as a talent. I'm not worried about him in terms of booking either. So you take a couple months and he fucking has a feud with, I don't know, fucking Pillman or MJF or somebody. Like, he can do, there's so many different ways, or the Acclaimed. He can go so many different ways where he can bide his time, stay on TV, or you know what? Take a couple months off. Like, I don't know what that does to his money. I'm sure he's on salary, but this is not something that I'm worried about. Sammy Guevara is over. Sammy Guevara is talented. He's young. He's good looking. He's got his thing with the Bob Dylan cards.
The signs or whatever,
Yeah. So I'm not worried about Sammy Guevara. It was the right move to put it on Cody Rhodes right now. And that has nothing to do with CM Punk. It has nothing to do with Bryan Danielson.
I was going to go more with Miro because, Sammy takes it off of Miro. If you wanted to kind of do it like that, I would almost rather you have Miro run it up to Cody, have Cody take it off of Miro.
If I had the pencil, I would prefer him to, win a couple feuds going forward from here. I would rather have him run through the Acclaimed, maybe both of them. I would rather have.
We're talking about Sammy.
Sammy.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I figure it's going to happen, but it feels like
I do.
I'd rather it go like that versus it's just an immediate title rematch.
I do want to shout out to the match though, because the match was one of Cody's best matches on AEW thus far. It was fun. It was action packed and made complete sense every single step of the way. I loved it.
True crossroads to put down Sammy Guevara. I mean, at that point, I was like, okay, yeah, fuck it, you got him.
God damn it! There's not a whole lot we have to talk about Rampage, unless you guys want to talk about Hook, who the crowd is super behind.
Okay, Two-Beer, you're the big time resident AEW mark of this bunch. Hook no-sells the, I guess, Michinoku driver, for lack of a better word. Is that good or bad?
I would say, overused, bad. To pop a crowd like it did, I think it's fine. I'm not going to blow it out of proportion. It was a little bit, it kind of takes you out of the moment because the Bear Bronson or whatever is such a bigger dude and Hook's a smaller dude. I'm totally here for Hook. I'm surprised we haven't talked about him more, but we don't dive into Rampage as often.
He's only had 2 matches.
That's where he's been. But his debut is great. He's super smooth in the ring. He just oozes cool. I want to be Hook when I grow up. It's not going to happen.
I will say that. Yeah, you probably shouldn't no-sell a Michinoku driver, right?
I thought when it happened, I was just like, oh, really? Okay. I mean, for me, it's not the end of the world, but the size difference is the biggest thing that I was kind of taken away from it. Bear Bronson is not a small dude, okay? I would in my world, if I had the pencil, Hook could stay down for a few seconds, sell the move. And then if you want to pop up and finish the match the way they finished it, okay. When he popped right back up, a lot of people were saying that's a callback to Taz when he used to do that. I didn't see Taz in that scenario. I wasn't an ECW kind of guy. If that's the case, okay, I get that.
If that's the case, that's a little too inside baseball.
There is, Taz used to do that. It didn't immediately strike me from Taz, but I saw a gif of it on Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah, he did used to do it. It reminded me of Sting used to and still does do it, but Sting is Sting.
Yeah, Sting.
And I remember Hawk used to do it all the time. And it popped the crowd. It always pops the crowd. Sting does the thing where he no-sells and beats his chest, and that's just a thing. But he's also a bigger guy, too.
Yeah, Sting did it as a main eventer. I mean, that's also what Taker does when he, sits straight up.
Yes.
That's what you do when you are a main eventer. And I know that Sting cut a promo this week that said every single match I fought was a main event match. That's how I treated everyone. I really like that Sting promo, by the way. Coming around on
What?
Sting. I'm coming around on Sting. I think he has a big future ahead of him.
It only took 30 years for Bill to come around.
That's great.
Okay, so let's start on Dynamite. It started off with that 5-on-5 match. I'm just going to lay it out right now. My big problem with this week's Dynamite is that there were so many multi-man matches. There were 3 big-time multi-man matches, if I'm remembering correctly. There was 5-on-5 to begin with, which was the Lucha Brothers and Jurassic Express versus the Matt Hardys and...
He said the Matt Hardys. Come on, man. Private Party is their own separate entity. For
MFO. What are they called? They're called
Hardy Family Order.
HFO. You know what I was talking about. Then they had Kingston and LAX. Kingston and LAX versus 2.0 and Garcia. Mm-hmm. And then the main event was basically the Best Friends versus Undisputed Era.
Okay, yeah. 3. Okay.
So that's 3 big multi-man matches. All these matches were very entertaining, but they kind of lose their luster after a bit. Like, if you want... This is not why I'm watching AEW, basically, is what I'm saying. I like watching AEW because there's less matches that have little on the line other than furthering a storyline. Zach, am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. I mean, that's totally like a valid opinion. I was kind of taken aback by the first match being a 5-on-5. What?
But they did tell the story between Jurassic Express and the Lucha Bros.
Oh my God, that was great. He said your valid opinion.
Yeah, no.
Boy. Allow me to defend AEW.
He was just patting my head from 1,500 miles away. Just patting my head. Oh, that's a valid opinion, Bill.
Now step aside and let me talk about my favorite promotion. Sorry, Jupiter, go ahead.
No, I definitely thought the same thing about the first match because, I turn it on and I'm like, holy shit, there's 10 dudes. I'm like, is there 10 dudes in this match? And then there was like another dude outside.
No, it was like 3 more outside. It was Tully. Which one was the Blade and Georgia, whatever the other dude is from Dark. It was like it was literally like 15 people at the ring at one time. I'm like, this is fucking nuts. And there's one referee. Come on, dog. How's that gonna work?
Yeah, it was kind of surprising. I know that they bookend usually with like kind of bigger stars. I think if you flip flopped it, because the party match is always fun, like in the middle, and this is definitely like a party match. Like I think if you flip and you put the Kingston and Garcia, then 2.0, like that one in the front, it's kind of less of a thing. But to start out with this, there was just a lot going on. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. The match was good though, and
of course it was fun as fuck.
Storylines, but yeah, it really was a lot, and you can tell that they're trying to further storylines and just keep as many people on screen without having a ton of segments as possible. It's a tough act to balance, I think. But yeah, I think you're right.
And the heat between Phoenix and Jericho. Sorry, the heat between Phoenix and Christian seemed organic, and like now they're having a title match next week, which I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see Jurassic Express versus Lucha Brothers next week.
Dude, that's another card that's going to be loaded.
So Eddie Kingston and LAX, they fight 2.0 and Garcia, and Y2J comes out and makes a save. This apparently pisses off Eddie Kingston because he's Ron Burgundy. I guess he doesn't like it. He's so masculine. I love Eddie Kingston, but like, why would this bother you? Like, the guy's making a save.
Baby, man, back up off my shit. He was like, look, I got this. He was like, these are my boys. Back up. This ain't got shit to do with you.
My big takeaway from this is that I look forward to Eddie Kingston versus Jericho as a feud. That is a feud that should happen in 2022 AEW. I just still think that LAX is being underused, as they're one of the best tag teams in the world, and they are constantly used as fodder or as just like pawns in the game of bigger feuds. Jason, I see you nodding, so I'm going to call to you first because I can tell you agree with me.
Totally agree with you. If it's not the Inner Circle, now it's to further the Jericho-Eddie Kingston feud. Okay, so if you want to play they're the number 4 ranked team in the world, that's fine. But I mean, Lucha Brothers really they haven't been defending up until they're going to defend next week. Fair enough. There have been time after time after time. I think they've had one title shot, if I'm not mistaken, and they lost. I think it was against the Bucks. Sounds right. Feels right. It's either that or FTR, one or the other. I want to say it's the Bucks. Either way, there's no reason in the world that Santana / Ortiz should be taking a pin in this scenario. If God forbid, if it's anybody, it should be Eddie Kingston. He's the most bulletproof of the bunch, number one. And number two, if you really wanted to have him come out, have Jericho come out and have Eddie pissed off, now he has more so of a reason to be pissed off. He's gotten screwed not once, but twice. Now you're coming out late, by the way. I mean, come on. How long? You in the back and it just took you this long to get out here after the fact? Neither here nor there. Doesn't matter. You come out late after the damage is done. Yeah, Eddie Kingston's going to be mad. He's pissed off he's lost, and now here comes your boy late to the party and now trying to save the day while everybody's singing Judas. Yeah, I'd say
kayfabe style that Eddie Kingston is in the wrong here. What do you think, Zach?
I agree with you about Santana and Ortiz. I really am kind of surprised, and I know that they have a ton of tag teams in AEW, but it really does seem like, I mean, they were part of the kind of hottest act of the pandemic era. I mean, the Inner Circle was pretty great, but at the same time, nothing was super central around them. So I will echo those.
It makes me wonder if there's some sort of injury we don't know about or some sort of time restraint that we don't know about. Anyway, go ahead, Zach.
I know there was a thing, I think like it was Santana's, like he had his father pass away and like he had a couple people pass away, like, pretty rapid succession. I know he was off TV for a little while, but I don't know. They're super talented. And I don't care how or why. Like, I think it's probably just egos, they, at the end of the day, they both have big egos and big, Eddie Kingston and Jericho, that is, have these egos that they need to protect. And I don't care how or why, but I'm totally here for that feud. I would love to see it. And, I think Kingston should get one of those rare Jericho singles wins that don't go out there too often.
I totally agree with that. I was going to say, if there's bulletproof in AEW, Chris Jericho is that. He's basically, I can't even say he's done it all, but it feels like he has done it all in AEW. It's now at this point, what more can Chris Jericho do?
Let me ask you this, just as a general question.
Shoot.
Do you think we ever see Eddie Kingston as heavyweight champion of AEW? Zach, you can
My knee-jerk reaction is to say no.
Your knee-jerk reaction is to say no. What do you say, Zach?
Yeah, I would lean no.
I would lean no, too.
That sucks.
It sucks, but I'm telling you, if it happened,
it would be a Mankind kind of moment, for lack of a better term, in AEW.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
If you could set it up right and have like an MJF kind of guy, or MJF period, be the champ, be overconfident, have a 6-9 month title run, and somehow, some way, it comes up to where now Eddie Kingston has gotten this title shot. MJF will definitely, run him down and be like, no, you have no chance, and then you flip it. Now you have something to work with.
I'll buy that. MJF, speaking of MJF, he came up in the next segment. MJF and company were teasing a Wardlow turn, which has not happened yet, but you can tell it's coming, and predictable's not always bad. This is what we want. This is what I want. I won't speak for you guys, but MJF cut an incredible promo. Just an incredible promo. The guy is a promo machine.
It was 2 different promos in one little segment.
It was so good, and I can't really remember I just have A+ written next to it, but MJF is firing on all cylinders.
Go ahead, Tuber. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll let you take this.
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy that we are getting to what seems to be, the rise. We're in the rising action here of the MJF and Wardlow feud that has been eventual and oncoming, and it's great. It's long-term storytelling. The longer you hold off, the more animosity can build and ferment. So I am looking forward to that. And yeah, dude, it's just a highlight of the show. The guy has an amazing talent, and he's smart enough to not be out there killing his body, even though he's young. Just increasing his longevity by only wrestling every so often, but obviously staying in great shape in the meantime. He's just, I'd say he's not better than us and we know it, but he's smarter than us. And, I know it.
Hold on a second, Zach.
There was 2 things that I wanted to kind of chime in on that MJF segment, which, like you said, it was absolutely amazing. Number one, Wardlow was like the biggest takeaway from that segment for me, especially when they were talking about the contract part. When MJF was talking, Wardlow is like in the background. If you wanted to go like 6 months, 8 months, 9 months back, you could see Wardlow literally right behind MJF. Wherever MJF went, Wardlow was really one step behind. And now instead of Wardlow, you have Shawn Spears being basically the back of MJF, and now Wardlow is in the promo. He was sitting down, basically, rolling his eyes or whatever, whatever, MJF, talk that shit. When the TNT title portion came up, where he was like, I would have to give up the TNT title, he was like, what? That's where you really now is starting to see, if it wasn't already a little evident, which it kind of is, it's even more so evident now. The split is getting ready to happen. The question is, would it have been better, and this is for everybody, if Wardlow wins the title, is it better that he takes it off of Cody, or would it have been better if he takes it off of Sammy?
Cody.
Two-beer?
I think Cody, yeah. I think
I agree.
Cody beating somebody like Sammy, is different than an up-and-comer or something, because Cody and Sammy, it's kind of funny. We didn't mention it. That was the first Dynamite match.
Right. Was Cody versus Sammy.
Yep.
Let's talk about Dan Lambert coming out with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. This was a big-time heat segment because nobody got cheered because Dan Lambert comes out, and I don't get on wrestling Twitter all that much, but I have to say that I agree with Two Beer Zach's Dan Lambert take 100%, which is, listen, the guy makes me laugh. The guy is fucking entertaining. The guy is incredible. Obviously, I think this is a quote from Zach's tweet. Obviously, he gets it.
Right.
Like, he knows the business.
Right.
He's incredible. Him making fun of Brandy was so good. And then Brandy comes out and gets her ass booed too.
Off the jump.
Nobody.
She's supposed to be in grand scheme, kayfabe style. She's supposed to be the baby face, and she came out and got booed off the jump.
She's associated with Cody. She's associated with Cody.
Oh, I laughed my ass off. I thought it was goddamn comedy.
Man,
go ahead, Zach.
I laughed out loud a couple times. I mean, this thing was kind of a train wreck, but I laughed out loud a couple times. And, dude, whenever I mean, I thought it was a nice line that she called him a cheap ass Paul Heyman, and then he countered by saying he prefers Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette said, "Thank you."
It's an incredible line.
Gets it.
You know what? And this goes back to what Zach said either last week or a couple weeks ago. I can't remember which one, but Zach said, it wasn't all that long ago in the history of wrestling when you could completely acknowledge other promotions and it wasn't considered a big deal. And I feel like AEW is bringing that back. Now, maybe that's me being an AEW mark, which I unapologetically am an AEW mark. I'm not a fucking Vince.
I'm a mark for all good things. I'm a mark for good jobs and good steaks. Like I'm a mark for anything that's good.
Yeah, I'm a mark. What you said? You were a mark for what?
Blowjobs, good steaks, beer, all kinds of stuff.
All those things. Yeah, I'm a fan of all those things. So I like stuff that's good, and this was good stuff. Jason,
like you said, real quick, the
go ahead.
line that he said, real quick, the line whenever he said that he would rather be back wrestling Jericho and having his balls stapled to his leg than listen to Brandy's voice. I can't even say it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
incredible.
Brandy's, can't be, her real name is her stripper name, and now Ethan Page comes in, not just, maybe a former stripper, or, whatever he said. The whole segment really melted in very well. Unfortunately, it just didn't, resonate, for a lack of a better term, for the fans, because you just got a bunch of heels in the ring, and all you're doing is doing what we ask you to do.
But
that's only
that's only for the fans that are there. And there's way more fans that aren't there that are enjoying the fuck out of it.
Don't get me wrong.
Dan Lambert, I said this last week, Dan Lambert needs to take a few breaths in between lines, because otherwise none of them land. That being said, sitting at home and watching it,
this is good.
I get them all. Okay. Speaking of strippers, Jade Cargill came out to fight Thunder Rosa. Jade Cargill with smart Mark Sterling, who I like a whole bunch. She was fighting Thunder Rosa. I love that act, by the way. Jade Cargill and smart Mark Sterling. Whose idea was to put those two together was very smart. It's very smart to put together a completely gorgeous, tall, put together black chick with a white nerd that she would never fuck, but who's also very good at promos. That is so smart to me. I don't know whose idea it was, but golf clap for him, man. They're fucking awesome. I called him a nerd because I think that Jade Cargill would fuck me. She would probably. She'd probably be pretty turned on by it. I'm wearing sweatpants. Did you see my new white Reeboks?
Yes, I did. I was getting ready to comment on those.
Christmas present.
I'll say, God bless you. Don't wear those motherfuckers out here too long. You might get jumped on. I'll be the first to admit it. I called him out, months ago when they first got together, and I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way that they're going to keep these two together. There's no way that Mark Sterling is going to be her manager from this point on. Now it's at the end of 2021. I'm eating my words. Jade Cargill is in the finals. And then you had the swerve or swerves where you had a mystery figure take out Thunder Rosa on the way to the finish. In my head, I'm like, okay, this is Britt Baker. They're going to make this thing happen right now. Contraire, mon frere. Mercedes Martinez is finally going to get her fucking just due. Signed to AEW, takes out Thunder Rosa. So now we're probably getting ready to have a Thunder Rosa Mercedes Martinez feud. Ooh wee!
Two great workers. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I think Jade was very exposed in this match. She's, as we know, super green, and Thunder Rosa is really good, but couldn't quite carry her to a good match. And was thinking that this was Jade Cargill's title, but I feel like it can't be. It would just be it'd be too much for her right now. She can still come off as like a monster, and she can lose in the finals. But she's got a great presence. She's got a great look. She acts like a star. She's got to wrestle some more, and that is what it is.
I cannot imagine Jade Cargill not winning this belt. I think there's too much upside, and I could be wrong, and maybe I'm giving them too much credit by thinking that they're going to think like me. But Jade Cargill, I understand that she's green in the ring, and the match with Thunder Rosa carried the whole thing. I get it, but if you're trying to get eyes on the product and you're trying to make a star, Jade Cargill is that star.
Yeah, I agree with Two Beer. I'm on the Two Beer side on this one. I think Jade has so much upside. She will be AEW Women's Champion at some point. Maybe at the end of 2022. Let's see how it unfolds. I'll go with, let's see how it plays out with AEW before I ever say it with WWE ever again. Sure. That being said, I agree with Two Beer. It was a good match. It wasn't great. Thunder Rosa couldn't carry her being Jade in spots where you probably needed her to be carried. Jade is really green. This is Ruby Soho's title to lose. I'll go that far. Okay. I expect Ruby Soho to win this. It's not a knock against Jade. This is going to be something that you can use in her long-term storyline to elevate her to that next step. Could she be TBS champion? Yeah. Should she be? Probably not. She has bigger fish to fry. Thunder Rosa has bigger fish to fry. This is not their league. They set it up to where now you have Ruby Soho, who just got here. She feels like she should be the first TBS champion. You can get, some 3 or 4 women around her. You can work that out. Thunder Rosa, Jade, Britt, that should be the world championship picture.
CM Punk cuts a promo, and CM Punk says that basically him and MJF are done with each other. MJF also alluded to it at the beginning. This is different to me because usually wrestling feuds go until they're done through
you have a match and then they're done.
Right, and they have decided not to do this. Zach, is that okay with you?
I think they're both being disingenuous. I think they're going to get on each other's nerves again, and it's going to happen. I don't know if it was like a decision to pivot due to certain storylines that, like, Tony is preferring or putting precedence on. Maybe he wants Max or Punk to do something else for the time being, or if this was kind of the plan all along to kind of slow burn and maybe just make wisecracks every now and then, and they're both of their promos. It is interesting. It is different, and if this is all it is, it's disappointing. But I don't know that this is all it is. I think I did not get the impression that it's actually over.
I don't think that this is all it is. I just think it's a new way to go in about a feud. I mean, we're so programmed to have guys feud and then have a match, and guys feud and then have a match. So this is a strange way to go about it.
We literally call it a program. Like we actually call feuds programs.
Right. I'm not against it.
Their paths will cross. It's just what it will be. The straw.
Well, it's kind of long-term storytelling.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what we want, right?
Punk said it at the end of his promo. I'm not going to sit here and worry about MJF, but I'm not going to let him have the easy path to the TNT title, the world title, right, whatever the case may be.
I'll be there to
somewhere. And that's where I think ultimately MJF and Punk have their match.
All right, and the main event was the Best Friends with Orange Cassidy versus I don't even know what to call him. The Undisputed Era. I mean, it was Red Dragon and Adam Cole, baby.
There you go.
And this story did not play out the way that I thought it was going to. Kyle O'Reilly accidentally kicked Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks got into it with them. I thought they might have been a little bit more clever with this. Jason, am I wrong?
I don't necessarily think you're wrong.
Thank you. That's nice to hear.
It's kind of a weird. I don't think that you're wrong. It's kind of weird that you have two guys that you not even came in with, but now are on your side and saying that, hey, what's up with Fish? What's up with KOR? It doesn't feel right, but you still go off with them. And then throughout the course of the match, even backstage, they referenced, their NXT days. You can go Ring of Honor days if you wanted to. I love the fact that AEW, like you said, they acknowledge the fact that other universes are out there versus the one sole universe that's WWE. When the match unfolds, you see Kyle O'Reilly push Adam Cole, baby, aside, but then on the flip side, he accidentally kicks Adam Cole, and then that's when the Bucks come out. Brandon Cutler, runs the distraction, blah, blah, blah. To me, I love the fucking angle just because Adam Cole is the one in the middle. You have the past. You have literally his two past and present. If you want to, throw NXT in this Joker, let's do it for just the sake of argument. And he's in the middle. What does he ultimately do? When Kenny Omega comes back, does this change everything? It is so much intrigue that it almost took away from the match, because then I was thinking, okay, what's next? That to me was the deal. I love the match. What's happening behind what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on moving forward, that to me is what I like to
what do you think?
About.
Yeah, match is good. I do like the intrigue. Like Jason said, I agree 100% that it is refreshing, again, that we're not ignoring what happened in other companies, because everybody who's a fan knows where these guys came from. I say everybody, I mean the majority know where these guys came from. They know that history. Not ignoring it is the smart move. And I think building the intrigue is a smart move, especially in just a planning sense. Like, just see where the crowd takes you, right? See what people want, because ultimately it's giving people what they want. It's not always giving people what he might think creatively would be the most fulfilling or whatever. They're like here to make money and to make fans happy. So like, see where the crowd's leaning, and sometimes you can go against the wind, for the sake of a bigger payoff later. But where do the fans where do the fans want to see Adam Cole? Do they want to see
against the wind?
him a super click, or do they want to see Undisputed Era 2.0?
So the cold and I was running against the wind. Sorry, I love Bob Seger.
That's that.
Don't do that again. Don't do that again. Like, certainly don't say "still the same."
Jesus, man.
Or old time rock and roll.
We ain't got all night, goddamn.
Goddamn, I love Bob Seger. Didn't mean to cut Zach off, but I love Bob Seger. I like this match. I like that they're taking a slower approach with it. I have Kyle O'Reilly's thoughts that aren't necessarily good. Like, I think that Kyle O'Reilly is Bobby Fish about 10 years younger. Like, he is never going to be a main eventer. They tried to make him a singles main eventer in NXT, and he's just not there. He has no promo skills.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with being a guy that can wrestle great matches.
Agreed. I'll just say this. ROH, NXT, he wasn't that guy. In in the Supremes, there's Diana Ross, and there's the other two chicks that most people can't even remember their names. Okay,
Love.
There's nothing wrong with being the Supremes. Okay, you might not just be that guy.
Yeah,
Adam
that's how
Cole,
me and Zach
baby.
feel about BFR. Like, there's nothing wrong with being the other two guys. There's Jason Cornelius Bell.
I was getting ready to say, I have no problem just being in the back, just harmonizing it with the wind.
Against the wind.
Damn it.
Okay, let's get to that 3 count. So I guess for the 3 count,
I'll flip. Well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
let's do. You go. Let's do Wrestle Kingdom.
Hang on, give me 30 seconds. And
Now we don't have to do our predictions for Wrestle Kingdom. I gotta admit.
no, let's cut to like the big shit. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Night 1, Shibata has got TBA. Two Beer, you weren't here last week when Bill kind of embarrassed me with my lack of knowledge. Who do you think TBA is going against Shibata? Now, this is a match where there's no striking. It's going to be basically chain wrestling, the whole shebang. Who do you think they can get in to face Shibata for night 1?
I don't know if they're gonna bring in like a surprise or if it's just gonna be because it's an exhibition match. It could be somebody that's like already on the card. We already saw him and Zach do it, and it was really good. I think another person that would be fantastic would be Suzuki. And he's not like doing particularly much, so I mean that would be a pick.
He might be in that, I guess, pre-show Rumble or whatever the case may be. But as I'm looking at the card, he's not on anything else Nope, he's not on anything else that's listed. Let's go like that. You're thinking Suzuki?
That would be fun. If I was picking, that's who I'd pick.
Okay, fair enough.
Who I would want.
Okay, so let's go with title matches from this point on. You got Ishii as the champion, the Neverweight champion, versus Evil with probably Dick Togo in the corner.
Hard to pick against Evil with Togo in the corner here. I want to punch you right now. Why?
Because I fucking hate House of Torture. They're stupid.
Yeah, but why you want to punch me? I didn't create House of Torture.
But you're getting ready to pick Evil. At least like you feel like you're getting ready to pick Evil.
Of course I'm going to pick Evil. Like, obviously they've had a lot of momentum behind Evil for a long time. They love Evil. Whoever they is, it's not going to be Ishii. It's going to be Evil. It's a match that's going to be fun. That I would love to watch.
All kinds of fuckery.
Yeah, it's just... Listen, my thoughts on Evil are well documented on this podcast. It's just there's too much fuckery. It's not why I watch New Japan, so I'll pick Evil.
Two Beer, who you got?
Dude, I just can't stand Evil either, but you almost like can't ever like bet against him. It's super annoying. I don't want to pick him. I don't like this at all. But yeah, probably.
I'm gonna take Ishii. Fuck you guys, man. I'm gonna take the underdog.
Good for you.
I'm gonna take the underdog.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I really think all bullshit aside, I think Ishii's gonna make this shit happen. Okay, tag team title match. You got Dangerous Tekkers. Obviously, that's Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Chaos, being Goto and Yoshihashi. Chaos, Yoshihashi, and Goto won the World Tag League, so they have this match coming up. I'll start first. I'm not a huge fan of Chaos. I'm not going to sit up here and say that they're my favorite tag team by any stretch of the imagination, but it almost kind of feels like they're getting ready to do this. I'm going to take Chaos to win the tag team titles. Who you got?
You know what's weird about the G1 is that there are matches between people that you expect to be great matches, like Okada and Shingo and, all the big hitters. But what I tend to remember from the G1 are my favorite surprise matches, like the Tai Chi versus Ibushi match where they only kicked each other,
right?
Or the Yoshihashi versus Goto match that might have been
quietly one of the better matches.
And I won't say it was the best match of the G1. It was the one that surprised me the most and the one that I remember the most. Like, that, I guess that's just the way my brain works.
Chaos has had a hot year in 2021.
Yoshihashi and Goto had one of my favorite matches of the G1. And I still can't see them winning over the Dangerous Tekkers. I'll take the Dangerous Tekkers just because anybody else I would root for Yoshihashi.
You want to root for Chaos, but you're going to take the Tekkers.
Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr., they're my guys, so I'll take Dangerous.
You're welcome
Tekkers.
for Zack Sabre Jr. By the way, Tuber, here you got.
How many times do I have to apologize for that?
All the time. What you got, Tuber?
I think the odds are in Chaos's favor. I mean, oftentimes the World Tag League winners do go on to win the titles, and I think that Yoshihashi, they gave him his first belt this year with the trios. And I think this would be a big moment for him. It ultimately doesn't matter. Unfortunately, those belts are just not that prestigious. And the program, even though the matches are often good, the programs are just not always great. And the Tekkers have been kind of that throughout the pandemic. They've just been those belts, pretty much since the stadium show, whenever Ibushi and Tanahashi lost. We had those guys for a little while, but it's been the Tekkers since last summer. So I just think it'd be kind of fun, if for no other reason, give them, their WrestleMania moment, their Wrestle Kingdom moment.
True story. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's a really good point because I haven't been watching New Japan that long, but for me, Goto hasn't had his Wrestle Kingdom moment. Yoshihashi definitely hasn't had a Wrestle Kingdom moment. Yeah, that totally makes sense. See, thank you. You make me feel better about my shit. Next up is Desperado versus Hiromu Takahashi. Hiromu Takahashi winning the Best of Super Juniors, so he has this opportunity. He stepped right on up and said he won his shot against the champ. Desperado is in the way. So much shit going on. I'll be quick. I said I've been calling Hiromu Takahashi. Let's try this again. Hiromu Takahashi as going to be the next champion. It's literally set up in front of me. It's teed up. I'm going to take Takahashi as the winner. Two-Beer, who you got?
I'm pretty much never betting against Takahashi. Total superstar. This is pretty much his division. Everybody else is just in it.
True story. I'm really actually waiting for him to the main event one night at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing to disagree with what Zach just said. It's Hiromu's. I mean, it's his division. I'll take Takahashi.
Is it his title to lose?
Yes.
Even though it's not his title?
I'll take Takahashi.
In the main event, we got Shingo Takahashi versus Kazuka Okada. Interesting.
Shingo Tagagi.
Look, man, you can take over when you want to. Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
You stoned?
And drunk, man. Back up. So now...
now there's too many Takahashi.
Right. Obviously, Shingo being the champ, Okada winning the G1. The winner has Will Osprey on night 2.
Shingo.
Okay. Two-Beer, who you got? One word answer. One word answer. We'll just make it quick.
Shingo.
I'll take Shingo as well. We'll go night 2. Nope. Kenta versus the Ace. Kenta versus Tanahashi in a no DQ match for the U.S. title. Bill, one-word answer. Who you got?
Kenta versus who?
Tanahashi.
For the what?
The ace. The U.S. title.
No DQ. One-word answer.
Kenta.
Two Beer, who you got?
Kenta.
I'll take that. I'll take Tanahashi. Main event. So now we all said that Shingo is going to win night one. So we're going to play that game. Shingo versus Will Osprey. I'll just say this is for the undisputed IWGP Championship. One-word answer. Two Beer, Zach Pullman. In this episode, Shingo versus Will Osprey. Who you got?
I'm going to go Will. I think the reason
No. Okay, go ahead.
Let the man talk.
Fine.
I forgot we were doing one-word answers. I was just thinking it out in my head.
Why do you think Will Ospreay's going to win? Go ahead.
So I think Shingo's going to win the first night just so we get Shingo Will. Even though Okada Shingo and Okada Will are also great, like the match I think that everybody really wants is another Shingo Will match. And I just see Will taking that, you know, we've had Shingo really just carrying this company as a total workhorse for a good chunk of time. And I think we just add a new dynamic to the product. You have this, you know, Gaijin heel champion, and you know, Will is someone who is more likely and kind of fits in better if you are doing cross promotional stuff in the United States. Shingo is great, but it's like he can't come over and talk. So yeah, I think it's gonna be Will.
I'll agree with you on that, especially with Will Ospreay win with New Japan Strong. I think it's an amazing call. I wouldn't be surprised if Shingo won. I wouldn't be surprised if Okada won both matches, but ultimately, Will Ospreay, if you're thinking long-term programming, long-term booking, might be the way to go.
The most exciting way to go is to have Will Ospreay walk out of Wrestle Kingdom the champion. That's the most exciting way to go because he's clearly made himself a heel over the last year or so, maybe the last year and a half.
Everywhere you want to look.
Shingo is clearly a babyface. Okada, been there, done that. And it is time for something exciting. And it is time to kind of shake the last year and a half off. I mean, Will Ospreay never lost his belt.
That's the only reason I want to lean towards Will Ospreay, because he never lost.
He never lost his belt. So, I mean, really, shoot style, he should lose it to Shingo. I mean, Shingo Takagi has been a great champion. He's been a good champion. He beat
Shingo, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
He's had incredible matches. Of course, I love Shingo.
I just for connecting the dots.
But ultimately, I root for the white guy.
Move along, motherfucker, before we get into a fight tonight.
But no, I think that Will Ospreay as the mega heel makes the most sense.
I don't have a problem with that. He's in Japan right now. He can stay in Japan. And then we can start moving forward from that point on.
All right. That'll do it for our 3 counts.
There you go.
We got some picks to go here, guys. All right. So let's start off with New Year's Evil. Zach, I'll let you go first. We'll start with AJ Styles versus Grayson Waller. They had a fun segment. They've had a couple fun segments. And you know what? I like NXT bringing somebody down from the main roster to have a match with somebody that they put a lot of faith into. Zach, do you know
want me to pick?
Yeah, do you know who Grayson Waller is?
I actually do. He's the guy whose whole gimmick is being like a social media guy with a lot of followers, and Jason literally has more followers on just one of his accounts. So.
High fire!
But yeah, I got AJ. Like, AJ ain't there to put the guy over. He's there to get him over, but he ain't putting him over.
What do you got, Jason?
I would love to piggyback on to be on that, but this is NXT. This is Bizarro World. What I used to know is not what I'm used to know. I'm taking Grayson Waller.
Yeah, I agree with Zach. I could see it go either way, but I really can't see AJ Styles jobbing to Grayson Waller, a guy that nobody had ever heard of like 4 months ago.
AJ Styles has never been in NXT, just for the record. That's the main reason why I'm taking Grayson Waller. It's a new NXT. This is the reboot. What used to be ain't what it is going to be right now.
Fair enough. Next up, we have... Can't even read my handwriting.
Jesus Christ.
Cora Jade and Rachel Gonzalez.
Oh,
Cora Jade, Rachel Gonzalez, and Mandy Rose. Cora Jade.
He's fucking up English. Okay, so that makes me feel better.
Mandy Rose, Cora Jade, and Raquel Gonzalez. So least to most. I'll let you go first, Jason.
Least to most, I will go. I'll go Cora Jade 1. I'll go with Raquel Gonzalez 2, and Mandy Rose obviously should retain. She's over here booking matches, so I mean, there's no way in the God's green earth she ain't gonna win this match. I mean, what the fuck?
I will go the exact same. No, you know what? I'll put Cora Jade 2.
Look at you.
And I'll put Raquel Gonzalez as the least most.
Look at you.
The least most.
She's
Zach,
gonna
what do you
go
say?
to Royal Rumble?
Probably.
Okay.
They
don't know,
got 30 chicks. She's got to. They're all going to be in the Royal
Raquel,
Rumble.
you going to have some work. book a flight to the STL. I'll see you here in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever.
Where are you going, Zachary?
They're gonna bring back the big hog. What was that guy that won Money in the Bank?
Otis?
The girls' Money in the Bank? No.
Otis.
Oscar?
No, the guy that won the girls' Money in the Bank. Who was his
Santino.
name? The big hog.
No. James Ellsworth.
Ah, yeah, Ellsworth. That's who's winning the
Oh, man. He deserves it.
You're welcome for James Ellsworth.
Guy's paid his dues.
But I don't know. It just depends. I guess if Cora Jade can get a roll up and win, because that's like her move. But I don't see her winning, so I'll put her at the bottom. I see Raquel going up sooner rather than later. So yeah, I'll go Cora Jade least, Raquel second, Mandy retains. Even though it's super dumb for a heel champion to decide that they want a three-way.
Thank you. Oh, Jesus Christ, Bill. Seriously?
I can't read my handwriting.
Let's go with Braun Breaker versus Ciampa?
No. I was sober, too.
Dare I say Carmelo versus Roddy?
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Carmelo Hayes versus Roddy Strong.
Jesus Christ.
I'll go first.
Please.
Okay. Wait, hold on a second. Can we talk about this contract signing?
Malcolm Bivens. The shit.
That was the best contract signing in WWE in the last 10 years.
Nobody touched, but they talked a bunch of shit. And I loved it.
But when Malcolm Bivens was translating black speak for Roddy Strong, and Roddy Strong was saying shit back to Malcolm Bivens, who was saying shit to Carmelo Hayes. And it didn't end up being offensive. There was nothing offensive about it. It was just pure comedy.
That's the one reason I want to watch NXT moving forward. Okay, and it's getting ready to end, so now it's another reason why I can't watch NXT moving forward.
I'm taking Strong.
I'm taking Carmelo. There is no there. Who's a cruiserweight in NXT at this point? There's nobody.
They're
Carmelo.
They're unifying the belts.
Carmelo.
I'm taking Roddy Strong. Who you got, Zach?
I've got Carmelo Hayes, and then the 205 belt just goes away entirely.
Zach, did you watch that segment between Malcolm Bivens and Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes with Roddy Strong sitting there?
I didn't, but I heard Bivens was fantastic, so I'm going to go back and watch it.
It is comedy fucking central.
Incredible.
Oh my God.
The best thing I saw all week. It was the best thing I saw all week.
I rewound it at least 2 or 3 times.
Right.
Like, is this happening?
We have MSK and Riddle versus Walter and Imperium. I was hoping this would be a Riddle-Walter match, of course.
Of course.
Hopefully we get there someday.
Yeah, right.
But this is not a bad
it's a nice consolation match, bro. Yeah.
Who you got, Jason?
I'm going to take Imperium on this. You're not going to bring Walter over here and not put them over. Riddle is going back to the main roster. There's no title match. There's no championships for it. This is a good time, a great time to put Imperium over. I'll take Imperium.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't have said it better. I'm not going to say anything. Zach, what do you think?
I agree.
My nigga.
I am looking forward to Imperium and Walter and Matt Riddle standing in the ring together. I would love to see them do 40 minutes together, like Tyler Bate and Walter, or Igor, or what's his name?
Igor.
Dragunov. You knew what I was talking about. And then we have Tommaso Ciampa versus Braun Breaker for the belt. I'm going to go first because I don't know what I'm going to say here. I'm going to talk myself through it, right?
Talk yourself through it.
Braun Breaker still seems a little too early, and Tommaso Ciampa still seems a little too... Not a little too, but he seems so confident in... It makes more sense to have somebody carry the fire through the darkness, you know? Like, I just watched The Road and No Country for Old Men. Like, you have to carry the fire through the darkness, and Braun Breaker's not the guy to do that. I'm going with Tommaso Ciampa. Zach, you can go next.
I am going Braun Breaker. I think it would surprise me a lot if Ciampa won. And, I feel that feel and everything, but this is just not the brand that it once was, and I think really that's Ciampa's job right now is to put this guy over and kind of remove some of the last vestiges of the black and gold brand.
And what else?
And that's why I'm picking Braun Breaker.
All right, so we're going to move on to the day one-ish.
That's some great shit. My nigga.
God damn. Okay, we got Cesaro and Ricochet versus Rich Holland and Sheamus in a match that means a whole bunch. What do you think, Jason?
They made. I'm not even going to say this. I'm surprised they made this a match. It really doesn't matter. I'm taking the heels on this one. I didn't even know this was a match. I swear to God.
I'm taking the heels too. Yeah. What do you think, Zach?
I didn't know this was a match, and
good.
I will take whoever is not Cesaro and Ricochet, because that just sounds like a losing team.
I mean to tell you,
phenomenal wrestlers.
God damn. That's why Toni Storm quit. Right there. Right fucking there. Go ahead.
All right. This is the other big match. Mm-hmm. McIntyre versus Madcap Moss.
Jesus Christ.
I'll take McIntyre. Who you got, Jason?
Do I have to Drew? Okay, fine. I'll be like the cops. You got the confession.
Zach?
Dude, that's a That's a pay-per-view match?
Right. That's to start out the 2022 year. It's Madcap Moss versus Drew McIntyre. Man, you...
Listen,
I wonder why I watch this shit.
You can be in some feuds that aren't that big of a deal until you get back to the big deal.
It's Madcap Moss, dog. It's Madcap Moss. That's all I'm going to say.
I'll call him Red Moss. Who you got, Zach?
No, fuck that.
He's like, if he's not Retribution, he's one step away from Retribution. If Drew McIntyre doesn't win this, that's bonkers.
I put Zach down for Madcap Moss. Okay.
Nice.
All right, we got some belts coming up here. Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan.
I'll go first. No, I'll go first because I've been a huge proponent. Not even proponent, just antagonistic. There's no way Liv Morgan wins shit. I can see Liv Morgan winning this shit now, especially when Toni Storm leaves. You can do this before WrestleMania. I'll take Liv Morgan.
Jesus Christ. I'm taking Becky Lynch because I'm not an insane person. What do you think, Zach?
I didn't say it was the lock of the week. I said I would take Becky, or I'm saying taking Liv Morgan.
Not a good pick.
I know you ain't talking. I know you ain't talking.
Who you got, Zach?
Let's do it. That'd be cool.
You're taking Becky, correct?
But who are you taking?
Taking Becky.
Okay, you broke out a little bit. I just wanted to make sure we got you on record.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we had you on record. Okay, let's go to... Oh, I really can't read my own...
Jesus Christ, dude.
I know.
Seriously?
How old am I?
You're younger than me.
Street Profits versus RK Bro. Now, the conversation is, do you expect them to go ahead with the RK Bro breakup right here? I do not. I'm taking RK Bro.
Tubular, go ahead.
I have RK Bro just because they're act, and I think that they've got life in that act. They'll eventually break them up because they won't be able to stop themselves. But I think it's not the time.
First off, I'm gonna take RK Bro. I think I agree with everything that Tubular said.
Well, there's nothing else left to say then.
No, I'll wait then. That's fine. I'll wait.
What were you gonna say?
No, I'll wait till the birthdays.
No, go ahead.
No,
say it.
RK Bro wins. I agree with Two Beer. There's no reason to take it off him at this point. If you wanted to do it, you do it at closer to WrestleMania, post Royal Rumble, blah blah blah.
Edge versus The Miz. Who you got?
Edge.
I'll take The Miz. Ugh. Who you got? Zach.
Wow. I got Edge.
Over here talking about my bad picks.
I see this going for at least 2 more matches, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're getting a lot of juice out of it, bro.
Royal Rumble. You ain't got to get juice out of this.
Hey, I don't have to explain myself to you.
Sorry, boss. Go ahead.
Okay, in a very fresh matchup, we have the Usos versus the New Day. I'll go first. Man.
Right.
I'm going to say New Day. Because I see this only adding into the bloodline bullshit. I'm going New Day. What do you say, Jason?
It would be hard for me to pick against the bloodline when this is a day one pay-per-view. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Usos in this one. It doesn't matter ultimately. I mean, both teams are good, and you can lead either team forward. But
it's a fresh matchup.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we've never seen it before
ever.
Who you got, Zach?
I got the Usos just because it's almost like picking Roman by proxy.
Fair enough. We have Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar.
Another fresh one.
Another fresh one.
Another fresh one, but I mean, it's no. All jokes aside, it is fresh in the sense that it's the role reversal, heel Roman versus
Vincel. He's a Vincel.
I know you ain't talking. I was about to say, rewind that shit like an hour ago. You was over here defending WWE as sword and shield.
Oh, it's a fresh matchup. Reigns versus Lesnar. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's fresh in the sense that it's the role reversal and Paul Heyman is in the middle. All that being said, I'm going to trust my gut. I'm taking Roman Reigns. It feels like he still has to retain, and then you move it over to WrestleMania and have Brock win it.
I'm taking Roman Reigns also for the exact same reasons. What do you think, Zach?
I don't know. You know what? I think I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Brock.
Do it!
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty close to saying Brock, but
Heyman's the wild card.
That means Heyman would have to turn face. Heyman is not advertised as being in either man's corner. So Heyman
he's in NXT trying to figure out his next move.
All right, so here we go. So you have to go least to most.
Okay.
We have Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley. I'll go first.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going KO least, Seth Rollins second least, Big E third, and I'm taking Lashley to win.
Did not see that coming. Two Beardy, you want to go? You want me to go?
You go ahead.
What do you think I was going to say?
Definitely not that. I would agree with you with KO being least likely. Wow. I'll go Seth number 2. I will go Lashley 3, and then I will take Big E to retain. I said it. I'm on record. He goes at least through Royal Rumble. Let's see who he has at WrestleMania. The Royal Rumble runner gets Big E in my projections, but we'll see what happens.
Zach, you're going last for the last pick of the night.
Least to most.
Yes.
KO, Lashley, Rollins, Biggie.
Ooh. I think that Zach is counting on that Vince can make a WrestleMania match between two strong black men that does not have a belt between them, which I gotta admit I respect.
So what is that? It's Lashley versus.
I mean, I think it's going to be Lashley versus Big E at WrestleMania. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what that's
the title.
Actually, yes, that's what I'm pushing for.
So what's Brock doing?
I don't know, something with Reigns, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I think Lashley versus Big E is a pretty big match that they could probably sell the fuck out of.
Lashley versus Brock is the match that Lashley wants.
Yeah,
I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying it's going to be a 5-star classic, but if you need to fill this WrestleMania 2-day card, might be something to go with.
This is Banned from Ringside.
All right, we got some birthdays this week. Not a whole lot. Ray Phoenix. Do you want to guess how old Ray Phoenix is?
Half of my age
17.
I'm going 28.
31.
And that's not half my
Danny
age.
Burch, friend of the show, is 40. Jimmy Hart,
Mouth of the South.
77. Jim J.R. Ross is 69. Good to have you back
from
JR.
cancer. Yeah, back from cancer.
You know, CM Punk called him the best to ever do it. He's probably right when you're talking about play-by-play.
All time, yeah.
I'd say JR is the best. I'd say JR is the best play-by-play guy to ever do it, and that Bobby Heenan's the best color guy to ever do it. Right?
They were. If you had to do a nice 1-2 punch, yeah, Bobby Heenan has to be on there. He is Comedy Central.
And then Chris Kanyon, R.I.P., would have been 51.
Shout out to Matt. Thanks for calling me 20 in my age for the birthdays. You're good.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We know there's lots of podcasts to listen to. For Vice, me and Vice had some real quality time this week.
God bless you, bro.
We really
check. Good shit, Vice.
For Murray the Man Murray, for Lucha Chris, for Sideways in Time, for Patriot Pat.
Check. Hey, look.
For Two Beer Zach Pullman, for Jason Cornelius Bell, I am Bill Vega, and everybody never forget to boo the heels.
Happy New Year's, bitches.